What if I told you that AI is no longer just doing tasks, but now it's designing the systems that run your entire digital world? Sounds like the start of a sci-fi movie. Right, but this isn't fiction. It's happening right now. Abacus AI's Deep Agent just received an upgrade so powerful, so transformative, that it feels less like software and more like a digital mastermind, quietly assembling armies of smaller agents to automate everything around you. This isn't the kind of AI assistant we're used to. Not Alexa, not Siri, not even the GPT models you've been experimenting with. Deep Agent has leveled up into something closer to an automation architect, capable of creating other agents on the fly, plugging them into your systems, and orchestrating them like an invisible workforce that never sleeps. And here's the kicker. It all starts with a simple text prompt. No coding, no wiring integrations together, no tech wizard required. You just describe what needs to happen, and Deep Agent builds the process itself. But here's the real question. What happens when AI no longer just replaces tasks, but starts building the rules that govern them? That's the world we're about to step into, and the details of this upgrade reveal why it feels like we're facing the final boss of automation itself. Stick with me to the end, because what Deep Agent can do now will either excite you or terrify you. Section 1. The breakthrough shift. For decades, automation has been about patching holes. Businesses buy dozens of software tools, CRMs, analytics dashboards, project trackers, but none of them were ever designed to speak the same language. So what happens? You end up duct taping them together with clunky integrations. Zapier here, some custom scripts there. Maybe a developer burns a weekend writing bridge code, and even then things break, constantly. But with Deep Agent's latest upgrade, the entire paradigm flips. Instead of you being the one who painstakingly glues systems together, Deep Agent figures it out for you. Here's the mind-bending part. It doesn't just automate tasks. It actually creates other agents dynamically, little digital specialists, each designed for a specific job. Then it orchestrates them, coordinating their roles as if you suddenly had an invisible workforce running in the background. And thanks to its new compatibility with the Model Context Protocol (MCP), these agents can now connect tools that were never supposed to work together. Think about that. You could have a marketing platform, an HR system, and an analytics model, all completely siloed, and Deep Agent will discover them, wire them together, and keep them in sync without you writing a single line of code. This is huge because companies spend millions each year just managing fragmented systems. A CRM holds one version of customer data, analytics hold another, sales has spreadsheets that don't match up. Normally, syncing all of that requires months of painful IT projects. With Deep Agent, you describe the goal and it constructs the integration automatically. And here's where the psychological impact kicks in. For the first time, automation is no longer about you mapping the process. It's about describing the outcome and letting the AI reverse engineer how to achieve it. That's not just convenience, that's a shift in power. Because when AI becomes the architect of workflows, you start asking yourself, are we still managing the system? Or are we slowly becoming clients of an AI-run infrastructure that we don't fully control? And that question is only the beginning. Section 2, the hands-on magic. Okay, let's zoom into the practical side, because I know some of you are probably thinking, this all sounds impressive, but what does it actually look like? Let's start simple. Say you want a sales chart for the last year. Traditionally, that means wrangling with Excel, maybe wrestling CSV files, formatting rows, adjusting formulas, and finally producing something halfway presentable. If you're more advanced, maybe you touch Python or a BI tool like Tableau. But in every case, it's tedious. Now enter Deep Agent. You don't code, you don't format, you just type, I want a line chart showing sales over the past 12 months, with spikes in March and November, labeled in dollars, with a shadow line and clean grid annotations. And here's where the magic happens. Deep Agent doesn't just produce a chart, it builds a fully editable visualization, exactly as you described it. Want to shift from 2024 to 2025? Just type Update to 2025. Instantly, every axis, every label, every title changes. No manual tinkering required. But charts are just the appetizer. Say you need a one-page flyer for small businesses. You tell Deep Agent, dark background, bold headline, imagery related to growth, target audience, entrepreneurs. It comes back with clarifying questions like, what's the flyer's main purpose? Or do you prefer a modern or classic style? And then it delivers a polished PDF. Want to swap blue for purple? Just type it. The design updates instantly. This feels less like using a tool and more like working with a tireless designer who takes direction through plain English. But here's the real kicker. These individual outputs, the charts, the flyers, the documents, they're not the end game. They're just pieces in a much larger system. Because what really sets Deep Agent apart isn't that it can generate content on demand, it's that it can stitch these outputs together into complete automated workflows. And once you see how it chains multiple agents into one seamless process, that's when things stop being convenient and start feeling a little unsettling. Section 3. From tasks to entire workflows. Let's raise the stakes. Imagine you want a social media manager. Normally, you'd subscribe to scheduling software, maybe hire someone to write posts, keep track of hashtags, and spend hours a week coordinating. But with Deep Agent, all of that changes. You literally just type, "Build me a social media manager." From that one request, Deep Agent spawns a set of agents. One agent writes the posts, another pulls trending hashtags, another schedules them at optimal times. They all work together automatically. No need to buy a third-party tool, no endless setup. Let's take another case. Scheduling a meeting across multiple calendars. Normally you'd send emails back and forth, check times manually, and maybe set up a doodle poll. With Deep Agent, you just say, "Schedule a Google Meet with these people." Instantly, agents compare calendars, lock the slot, send invites, and if you want, even add a recording or transcription service. Or consider Jira and Slack integrations. Normally you'd spend hours setting up triggers, mapping fields, testing and adjusting. With Deep Agent, you just say, "Alert the team in Slack whenever Jira issues reach ready to deploy." Done. No manual wiring. And here's where the power gets almost eerie. If you decide later to replace Slack with Microsoft Teams, Deep Agent simply reconfigures itself. The agents adapt. They're not static templates. They're living entities that reshape themselves to match new instructions. Even more startling, thanks to MCP, Deep Agent can detect new systems that come online and extend your workflows without starting over. That means the automation you set up today doesn't get outdated tomorrow. It evolves. What does that sound like to you? To me, it feels less like software and more like a digital workforce, one that not only executes commands, but improvises, adapts, and even anticipates. And that raises the chilling question again. If the AI is building, adapting, and coordinating entire workflows, are we still in control, or are we simply feeding requests into an invisible organization that runs itself? Section 4. Why this upgrade feels like the final boss. Here's where everything comes together. Deep Agent is no longer just another automation tool. What Abacus AI has created here is essentially an automation generator, a system that doesn't just complete tasks, but designs, builds, and maintains its own ecosystem of agents. Think about how huge that is. Before, every time you added a tool or updated a process, someone had to spend hours reconfiguring the system. Now, Deep Agent auto-detects new platforms, links them, and keeps the flow consistent. It's not just reactive, it's future-proof. That's a leap from AI as assistant to AI as architect. For marketing teams, that means entire campaigns can be planned, designed, updated, and published without ever touching design software or dashboards. For operations, it means reports are generated, stored, and distributed automatically, no raw data wrangling required. Developers, they can set up integrations without writing code at all. And the most mind-bending part, every single change is just a text instruction away, seconds instead of hours. This is no longer about tools, this is about outcomes. You state the goal, the AI reverse engineers the process. And that's why it feels like we've hit the final boss of automation, because this isn't just about efficiency anymore. This is about power, who holds it, and how it shifts when AI stops being a helper and starts being the designer of the systems we depend on. So here's the uncomfortable truth. If Deep Agent is already this powerful today, what happens when the next upgrade comes? When it starts not just discovering systems, but choosing which ones you should use? When it doesn't just build workflows, but starts optimizing them in ways even you didn't ask for? That's not a productivity boost. That's a turning point in the relationship between humans and AI. And whether you see that as thrilling or terrifying depends on one thing. Do you believe we'll stay in the driver's seat, or are we already passengers? Outro. So is Deep Agent the future of work, or the first sign that we're quietly building AI empires that run themselves? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure you subscribe, because this is just the beginning. The final boss of AI has appeared. Question is, are we ready to face it?